Hi, I'm Andrew Wasson. Thanks for joining me for my weekly guitar blog. It's June 1st, 2014, and this week we're going to do a lesson on the dominant 7th and 9th inversions. And this week's question was sent in from Lonnie. He's out in Fanwood, New Jersey, and he wrote in with this email. I love blues music, and I've just joined a band. My lead playing isn't too bad, but where I've totally discovered that I'm weak is in being a rhythm player. Doing gigs and rehearsing in my band sure made this clear. I need to know more chords. Andrew, what are your favorite dominant 7th chord inversions that you like to use when you're playing blues and jazz rhythm guitar? Thanks from Lonnie in Fanwood, New Jersey, USA. Well, thanks for writing in, Lonnie. When most players join a band, they find out pretty quick that playing guitar live involves having good rhythm skills and a really solid working knowledge of chord voicings. And when you want to improve your chord voicings, one area that's a big part of the equation is chord inversions. So in this lesson, I'll be taking the most popular chords used in the blues style, which of course are the dominant 7th and to a lesser extent dominant 9th, and I'll be demonstrating some of my favorite chord inversions of these popular chords. Well, the chords that I'll be running through will all be from a 1-4-5 blues progression in the key of A. Starting out with the A7 chord, I have 4 different inversions I'd like to run through for you. The first inversion is in 6th position and has the 5th chord tone in the bass. It's going to be an A dominant 7th with E in the bass. The next chord inversion of this root chord has the major 3rd in the bass. That's a C sharp, so we're going to drop down here to 4th fret position and do an A dominant 7th with C sharp in the bass. Now the next inversion of our key center chord has the lowered 7th degree in the bass. That winds up being a G. So we're going to have an A dominant 7th with G in the bass. It's in 5th position there. And the final inversion is going to be operating from a slightly different chord since it's an extended chord of A9. So we're going to be doing an A9 inversion, placing the major 3rd chord tone in the bass. So it gives us A dominant 9 with C sharp in the bass there. It's in 4th position. So now let's shift our line of thought over to the 4 chord of this A blues that we're walking through here. It's going to introduce one of my favorite voicings of this chord. It's an A in the bass of a D dominant 7th. So the A is right here on the 7th fret of the 4th string. We're just doing a bar across 5th fret. And it's a really nice one. D dominant 7th with A in the bass, basically right there. And the next one is going to be another inversion, but it's going to include another dominant 9th scenario. The chord type is basically D9 chord, but we're going to place the F sharp in the bass in the 4th position here. So that's D dominant 9 with F sharp in the bass. All right, now let's head over to the world of the 5th chord there, E dominant 7th in this A blues that we're operating in. The first chord inversion I wanted to have a look at will be placing our 5th chord tone in the bass, which winds up being a B note. So that's going to give us E dominant 7th with B in the bass. And the final chord inversion off of this E chord is going to take the major 3rd and place it in the bass here on the 4th string. It's going to give us an E dominant 7th with G sharp in the bass. And one more thing I should address here is that this inversion type, as well, all the inversion types that we've been processing here off of the E and the D, they can all intermix between one another. Like for instance, the one I just did, it was the E7 with G sharp in the bass. If you just took that chord down a whole step, you could have D dominant 7th with, in this case, F sharp in the bass. Could do the same thing, let's say if we went to remember the D7 chord with A in the bass, we could just take that chord and move it up, and we would have E dominant 7th with B in the bass. So all these chords are interchangeable, even those dominant 9s. Remember we had that D dominant 9 with F sharp in the bass. Slide that up a whole step, and you've got E dominant 9 with G sharp in the bass. So they're all interchangeable. Make sure you mess around with that concept quite a bit, because you just have a few more chord voicings now that you can mess with. And, before I wrap up, I wanted to quickly discuss how you can study these chord inversions without having to think right away in terms of including them in a full-on 12-bar blues progression, which obviously could get kind of overwhelming. My suggestion instead is to simply just apply them and practice them in a much more manageable format, even if you just have to switch from one voicing to the next to be able to develop the chord shape on the fingerboard and get it under your hands and so forth. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a couple of 4-bar progressions in the key of A. The first one, I'm just going to use 2 inversions in it, and the key center, of course, is still going to be based upon the A dominant sound. So we're going to use in this one the A dominant 7th chord, and we're just going to flip it where it's going to have the A7 with the C sharp in the bass. And we're also going to have that A7 show up with the G in the bass. And then we're going to look at the 5 chord in terms of just having one inversion process. We're just going to use that E dominant 7th with G sharp in the bass there. But for the D chord, we're going to use a couple. We're going to have a D9 with F sharp in the bass, and we're also going to have that D7 with A in the bass. And we're going to put them all together. It's going to sound like this. Here it is one more time. So you can hear there's a lot of interesting voice leading that starts happening when you have these different inversions going on with these dominant chords. And I think we should do one more of these yet. So before we wrap things up, let's make up another one of these ideas. We'll have some more inversions and go through them. And I think in my final example, I'll just focus on, make it even easier. We'll just focus on 2 chords only. We'll have the key center chord of A and then the D, and we'll just use those 2. So let's start on an A7 with E in the bass. If you remember that one, it's where we had this voicing in the 6th position, A7 with E in the bass. And then above that, let's place D7 with A in the bass and shoot over that D9 with F sharp, because it's a really easy shape to grab at. So then another one we'll go into in the 9th scenario. Let's take that A9 with C sharp in the bass and then jump over to an A7 with G in the bass. And then we'll just make it easy. We'll come back to the chord we started on, the A7 with E in the bass. Okay, so let's play this set of chords down. Here we go. Well, I hope this video lesson covering these favorite inversions of mine for the dominant 7th and 9th chords has made sense for you, and I hope it makes you think more about the way that this chord may be applied musically through these various forms of the chord inversion process. You know, the dominant 7th is the primary chord found in the blues style, and it's important to become aware of how these inversions can offer us a whole new world of voice leading, and at the same time give us a much greater appreciation for more chord sounds and possibilities when it comes to playing as a rhythm guitar player in the blues style. Anyway, that's about all the time I have for today. As always, thanks for watching. Have yourself a great week, and I'll catch up with you next time. Bye for now.